Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my mother-in-law hold my baby after she told my husband to get a paternity test? Original post. I, 28 female, gave birth to my first child, a beautiful baby girl, 3 weeks ago. My husband, 30 male, and I have been over the moon, but his mother has been causing non-stop drama. She never liked me. From the start, she made snide comments about how I trapped her son, even though we've been happily married for 4 years. When I got pregnant, she constantly joked about how the baby might not be his. I brushed it off as her usual passive-aggressive behavior until I found out she took it way further. 2 days after I gave birth, my husband got a text from his mom saying, "You should get a DNA test. You never know these days." I was devastated when I saw it. My husband was furious and told her off, saying he had zero doubts about me and that her comment was disgusting. She tried to backtrack, saying she was just looking out for him. Now she wants to come over and meet the baby, but I told my husband that she will not be holding our daughter. If she wants to question whether my child is even her grandchild, then she doesn't get the privilege of bonding with her. My husband understands why I'm upset, but he thinks we should let her come just once, so she doesn't play the victim with the rest of the family. Now she's crying to everyone, saying I'm keeping her granddaughter from her and that I'm punishing her over a harmless question. Some family members think I'm being dramatic and should be the bigger person. But why should I let someone who disrespected me and my child hold her like nothing happened? Am I the a-hole for refusing to let her hold my baby? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. She'll find ways to play victim, even if you've not done anything wrong. So might as well set your boundaries. Also, just to add to that, that's not a harmless question at all. She's indirectly accusing you of cheating and asking her son not to trust you. Unless she has extremely valid reasons, which she doesn't in this case, that's just so disrespectful. If it's such a harmless question, make a big deal of asking your husband to get a DNA test to see who his father is. Not the a-hole. Just tell everyone, I don't know why she's upset. She told my husband to get a DNA test because she doesn't even think our child is his. I don't know why she would want to meet a baby who she doesn't think is related to her. If mother-in-law really hates her and doesn't believe the child is the dad's, then she must never be allowed to hold the baby or be alone with the baby. Accidents happen, and this kind of irrational nonsense knows no ethical or legal bounds. Protect the child. Grandma's feelings are inconsequential when weighed in the balance. Now for the update. Well, I wish I could say things got better, but mother-in-law made sure that didn't happen. After my husband told her off, I thought she'd at least try to apologize, but instead, she doubled down. She started calling my husband, telling him I was turning him against his own mother, and that I was overreacting to a simple question. She even pulled the classic victim act, crying to the rest of the family about how I was keeping her grandbaby from her. Then, things took a ridiculous turn. I found out from my sister-in-law that mother-in-law was actually trying to get a DNA test done behind our backs. Apparently, she was hoping to get a strand of my baby's hair or some spit to confirm the truth. When my sister-in-law told me, I was absolutely done. I told my husband that until she apologizes, not a fake "I'm sorry you're mad" apology, but a real one, she is not welcome around me or my daughter. Thankfully, my husband backed me up 100%. He told his mother that if she can't respect his wife and child, then she doesn't deserve to be part of our lives. Mother-in-law lost it. She went full drama mode, telling everyone I was tearing the family apart and that she might never recover from this heartbreak. At this point, I don't even care. She disrespected me, she disrespected my marriage, and she disrespected my child. Actions have consequences. So yeah, mother-in-law still hasn't met the baby. And unless she does some serious apologizing and self-reflection, she won't be anytime soon. Tell her you want a DNA test on your husband, as you don't think his father is the real father. She must be projecting from her own whoring days. Ding ding ding! This is probably why she's so hell-bent about it. Do it, OP. It's a harmless question, right? I wouldn't include the last part because just the first would force her to fully reckon with her questions and have to defend herself, immediately putting her in OP's shoes or mindset, forcing her to realize how stupid it is. But if you include the last sentence, then she immediately writes it all off. It just escalates too much. Might as well say, eat crap and die. Can't wait to introduce my daughter to you at your funeral, if we're burning all bridges so quickly. People can learn and be better. Straight up using mother-in-law's own words against her and nothing more gives her the chance to actually grow. Even if she flips out, she'd have to tell family how OP asked for a paternity test. Family members would see the stupidity and ask mother-in-law why she thinks it's okay for her to ask that, but not for OP. Something from Sun Tzu, give the enemy a golden bridge to retreat on. I wouldn't even trust a true apology from this woman. She could just be acting. Let's say you keep her out of your life for 5 years, and you finally cave and accept an apology from her. She's totally going to try to get your 5-year-old tested. I have no doubt she'd pull something like that. This is why I'm keeping my boundaries firm, because if I let her get away with it once, she'll never stop. Next story. Am I the a-hole for calling out my husband's friend after he made inappropriate comments about my son's paternity? I, 23 female, have been married to my husband, Alex, 27 male, for 2 years, and we have a 10-month-old son, Dylan. Alex has a friend named Mike, 27 male. They've been best friends since high school. From my first encounter, I did not like Mike. He is really childish, likes to be the center of attention, and has a crude sense of humor. It's like he never got out of his frat boy phase. All of my husband's friends are married or in long-term relationships, whereas Mike has never been in a long-term relationship or brought any woman around. He has also made some weird comments toward me that made me uncomfortable. My husband has a deep bond with Mike, and they often go on hunting trips or have boys' nights. I've never tried to keep my husband from hanging out with his friend, but I have limited my contact with Mike as much as possible since we've been together. Mike came over to pick up my husband to go golfing. I was holding our baby when I answered the door. Mike greeted us at the door, asked to hold my baby, and was cooing at him. Then he said, "Hey there, man, come to Papa," and my husband and Mike started laughing. A bit of background, I have brown hair and blue eyes, and my husband has black hair and brown eyes. Our son's hair is coming in blonde, and he has blue eyes. Mike has blondish hair and blue eyes. I was a bit caught off guard by it, but ignored his comment. Mike then said, "He looks like me. Maybe he's mine." And my husband and Mike continued to laugh. I was obviously not amused. I told Mike to hand me my son, and then told him, "Not in a million years. And no woman with sense would want you." Neither my husband nor Mike laughed at my comment, and Mike just made a face before he and my husband left. Later, my husband told me I took it too far with Mike, that Mike was just joking, but I made it personal. I told him those comments were disrespectful to me as his wife and the mother of his child. He then said it's obviously not true, so why am I so upset when I know how Mike is? Now for the comments. You did the right thing. Nobody should insinuate you slept with anyone besides your husband. Your husband should be offended too. Thank you. Also, my husband is being a hypocrite here. If I made a joke about our baby being for someone else, he would be livid. It's okay for Mike to do it though. Also, the fact that your kid is only 10 months. Most white kids have blonde hair and blue eyes for quite a while. Heck, my nephew, who has 2 brown-haired, brown-eyed parents, was born with blonde hair and blue eyes. Even now, at 2 years old, he still has blonde hair. And his eyes were blue until a few months before his 2nd birthday. Not the a-hole, though your husband and Mike still are. I would suggest having a deep discussion with your husband about Mike's jokes. How you have never really liked Mike, and that the joking insinuation that you slept with him is something you find offensive and disgusting. Also, bring up the points I made in the first section. If Mike makes that joke again, respond with, "That would imply I was not only willing to cheat on my husband, but I was also willing to sleep with you." Not the a-hole. It was a harmless joke, obviously a joke, but a joke intended to make your husband laugh as if you weren't even there. In fact, the joke doesn't even make sense if you are there. because the implication is that he's been sleeping with you behind your husband's back. The only way it would work is if the three of you were close enough that you'd play along. Like, oh no, well, sorry hubby. The truth had to come out sooner or later, while you put your arm around Mike. But the fact they both laughed, and because you don't have that familiarity, it was hurtful that your husband chose to laugh, somewhat at your expense, as if you weren't even there, or only considered what the joke implies about him, and not what it implies to you. This is the kind of joke you make between friends you know it'll land with, and you are not one of those people. Your husband's closeness to him does not automatically transitively pass to you because you're his wife. Nor should you feel pressured into being comfortable with that level of familiarity being forced on you. It wasn't necessarily the joke itself that got you so upset. It was the fact he thought he could tell that joke without thinking of you at all. The forced familiarity from both of them, and the way they talked as if you weren't even there, and don't see anything wrong with any of it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my husband attend his sister's wedding? My husband, 31 male, and I, 28 female, are expecting our first child this May 20th, 2025. We found out very early in September 2024. We did not keep this a secret from anyone, and in fact, shared the news in person with his family and my family on the day we found out. During this period, his sister, 29 female, was getting to know someone and got engaged in October 2024. It's sort of an arranged marriage, as she was set up and decided to get engaged only after 3 months of speaking to the guy. Her parents, my in-laws, were happy that she liked him and wanted to quickly move forward. She's been wanting to get married for the past 5 years. After the engagement party in October, there was a brief discussion of when the wedding would be. His sister had mentioned that she wanted to be married no later than April 2025. After our initial OB visit in September, my husband had mentioned to his parents that I would not be able to travel after 34 weeks, as per the doctor. His mother decided to ignore this information and not address it. His sister and mother decided to plan on having the wedding in April 2025, even though they had not booked anything. His sister's fiancé lives in Texas, a 3.5-hour flight away. I briefly mentioned that I would not be able to attend in April, as it would be too close to my due date, but wished them all the best in their planning. February 2025 rolls around, and they decided to have the wedding this upcoming April 19th in Texas. I told my husband that because I would be almost 37 weeks pregnant, we would definitely not be able to go. A month prior, during a huge fight we had, his mom had told him it's okay if I don't go, but that he would have to attend. At the time, I was not opposed to it as I thought it would be fine. 2 weeks ago, we met with my OB, and I decided to ask her for advice while he was also in the room. I asked her for confirmation that it wouldn't be a problem if he were to travel during my 37th week. She looked at both of us and said, absolutely not. We both stared at her, shocked, and she continued, this would be like rolling the dice. I would not recommend it. If something were to happen, I would not be able to slow anything down. He unenthusiastically agreed and said it's messed up that they picked a date knowing we most likely would not be able to attend. It's now almost April, and he just told his mother that we will both for sure not be able to attend. My husband and in-laws had a huge fight, and he explained the situation, so his dad threatened that he wouldn't attend either if my husband doesn't go to the wedding. I didn't budge after he told me this, and calmly stated that he simply cannot attend 2 weeks before my due date, as we're both having this baby together. So, am I the a-hole for not letting him attend his sister's wedding? Not the a-hole. Your in-laws really looked at a whole pregnancy timeline and said, nah, let's gamble. Did they think the baby would just reschedule to be more convenient for them? Your husband is about to become a dad. His priority should be with you, not across the country at a wedding when you could literally go into labor any second. His family acting like this is some wild betrayal is crazy. He is missing one day. You'd be the one missing your partner while possibly giving birth. Huge difference. I get that they wanted to get married and April suited. That's fine. You don't need to wait for a baby or plan around other people's dates. But you also can't blame those people for prioritizing their situation and staying home being close to delivering. You don't get both. The world doesn't revolve around anyone else's dates, not the a-hole. And if they wanted April so badly, they could have chosen the start of April or the very end of March. OP still wouldn't be able to travel, but hubby might have been given clearance to go. The later into April they picked, the less chance either OP or hubby would be able to travel. Not the a-hole. If your husband is not 100% in agreement that he cannot be traveling for a wedding 2 weeks before your due date, he is not ready for parenthood. Parenthood is sacrifice. It doesn't mean sacrificing everything for your child, but it sure does mean it for big moments like when they're going to be born. He cannot be hours away at a wedding, likely drinking alcohol as most people do, and expect to still make it if you go into labor. This is his family's fault. They knew your likely due period before they picked a date. If they don't like it, that is their problem, not yours. Last story. Am I the a-hole for cutting contact and calling cops on my mom after she burned my marriage documents? I, 27 female, and my mother, 46 female, have been fighting on and off my whole life. Every time I think she can change and be a decent person, she proves me wrong. Anyways, on to the backstory. So we're in one of our fights right now. Important info. I have custody and guardianship of my sister, and my mom has decided she doesn't really like that, or me. And I said to her over text to have a terrible night, terrible bye, I don't care. And she decided to send me a video of her burning my unregistered marriage license and certificate. She was the commissioner of my wedding, temp commissioner license, and had a legal responsibility to register them. But instead, she set them on fire, recorded it with the help of one of my now ex-best friends, and sent the video to me. I called the cops because, that's damage to federal government paperwork, and they informed me I'd have to take her to court and push for justice. They also recommended I get a restraining order. I've decided to do both. Here's where I might be the a-hole. Due to her behavior, I've decided she is not a safe individual to be around, for myself or my kid sister. So I've cut contact. I haven't blocked her because any texts or threats she sends, I want proof of. I've also decided to cut off my ex-best friend's phone line, which puts her in a really bad situation. But she's an accomplice, so I don't know. Maybe she deserves it. Maybe I'm a petty witch. You decide, Reddit. Am I in the wrong here? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Get a CCTV camera and a security lock for your house in case she tries to break in. She thankfully doesn't know where I live. Does your ex-best friend know where you live? No, we just moved and I hadn't told them yet. I apparently have crappy friends. Not the a-hole. Destroy them. Oh, I will be. The crime they committed can be up to 10 years in jail. I'll be pushing for it. Don't forget to not take the high road. This means if they go to the internet to whine and complain about you ruining their lives, post a list of things your mother did to you, culminating in her last screw-up of burning your marriage license. Also, go throw a party with your husband after getting married in the town hall, obviously filing the license with them, and post a photo of all of you. It's wonderful to have all my loved ones surrounding us for this moment.